Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about another one of my favorite movies from 2023, Five Nights at Freddy's. I think Blumhouse gets a lot of hate for the movies they produce. I think people tend to forget that Blumhouse drops a lot of occasional bangers, this being one of them. Adapted from the game of the same name, this is another video game movie that excels. Quick heads up, this review may contain the occasional minor spoiler, but I'll do my best to avoid them, especially because the second movie is coming out soon. I'm gonna be completely honest, I never cared about FNaF. A few months before this movie came out, I saw a TikTok with the song Join Us for a Bite and I immediately got hooked. Or at least I got hooked on the vibe and aesthetic. I can't say I was hooked onto the game because I've never played them. I try to avoid horror video games when possible. Anyways, Join Us for a Bite made it onto my Spotify top 50. There's something about FNaF's culture that is really fun. I'm saying this as an outsider looking in. I don't find it cringy or anything like that, just pure fun. For me, this movie captures that fun, or at least that version of fun that's in my head. What I'm really trying to say is that this was my expectation going into the movie, and my expectation was met. To give some context on the movie itself, FNaF centers on Mike Schmidt, a sleep-deprived screw-up with a conscience. He's got some childhood trauma because his brother was kidnapped and never found. That guilt weighs on him. Mike has a younger sister whom he doesn't want to lose custody of, so he takes an overnight security job at the shuttered Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Unfortunately, there's something supernatural going on at Freddy's with the animatronics, and Mike needs to survive and keep his sister safe. The plot of this movie is fairly straightforward, and some of the story beats and plot twists are a little predictable, especially if you've played the games, but I'm okay with that. Underneath some of the jump scares is an engaging paranormal mystery about trauma, and it's spiked with game lore cameos. This movie is peak gamer culture, even featuring Mr. Film and Game Theory himself, MatPat. I can't exactly pinpoint what it was about this movie, but it felt like a time capsule for me. Growing up, my parents would take me to Chuck E. Cheese as a kid. I could totally be fabricating this memory in my head, but I have a vague recollection of seeing the animatronics singing. I remember Chucky on stage and the cowboy dog looking guy. As I got older, they opened up a location 5 minutes away from my house, and at this specific location, I do not remember any animatronics, just a guy in a Chucky costume. Looking back at my real or not real memory, I feel like I lived through the erasure of a lost art. I am genuinely bummed that we do not have more animatronic locations. And maybe it's not just the loss of animatronics that kills me, but the loss of anything colorful and creative. Every McDonald's used to have a statue of Ronald outside standing up or sitting on a bench. Even before that, they had an entire cast of characters like Grimace, Hamburglar, Mayor McCheese, Birdie, Officer Big Mac, and so much more. Minimalism is a plague. I wish I could go to Chuck E. Cheese, Rainforest Cafe, Bullwinkle's, or Showbiz Pizza and see the animatronics. Even in places like Universal Studios or Disneyland, a lot of the rides with animatronics have been replaced with computer screens, and they don't even feel a fraction as magical. The old King Kong encounter at Universal Hollywood was incredible, and the new one is just meh. The main point of my ranting is that in a world that now prioritizes corporate chic, soullessness, and blandness, this movie stands out. For me, it's nostalgic and it captures an era that's lost to time. The production design for this movie needs to be commended. It's like a maze of liminal kid space. I love the party rooms, prize corner, arcade, ball pit, and stage curtains. Seeing it almost gives me the same feeling that seeing the back rooms does. It's nostalgic, and the way things are lit up in this movie, also eerie. It's the same effect as with clowns. They're supposed to be fun, but can also be creepy. That is the entire aesthetic of this movie, fun but creepy. Equally as awesome, I love that the animatronics in this movie are real. Jim Henson's Creature Shop brought these creatures to life with puppeteering and specialized suits. I love how they're wearable costumes and the production team deliberately avoided using CGI. It makes the film feel tangible, and I love that. For all the FNaF fans, this movie has a lot of visual breadcrumbs from the games. Balloon Boy, the cupcake, the Fazbear badge, and so much more. I love how this movie takes the surveillance gameplay and mechanics and runs with them. I love seeing Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy on camera. I love the way they blinked and smiled wickedly. I loved how they seemed to teleport when you weren't looking and when you were looking. I love how heavy their footsteps sounded. Again, the animatronics felt weighty and like they were truly alive. Adding to the tone, the needle drops in this movie were fun. I love Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics as an in-world performance. It lowers your guard, and if I was at Freddy's eating pizza, that is exactly the kind of song I would expect to be performed. Adding to the eeriness in the film, the score by the Newton Brothers is moody and atmospheric. The main theme song that plays during the intro credits is flawless. Also, the intro credits were great. They were creative and fun, and I think most movies today fail to make their credits engaging. Another song that was great was Foxy's Fatality. It added tension and let you know that some people were about to die. In terms of gore, this movie is fairly tame. Yes, some people die, but a lot of that violence is depicted off screen, and we usually only ever see quick snippets of the aftermath. For a PG-13 movie, that's fine. I kind of skipped over it because I was a little vague about the plot, but the acting in this movie movie is good. I loved seeing my boy Peter Millark. Josh Hutcherson was subdued, haunted, and tired. He's not some crazy action hero. He's a regular Joe, and I like how that makes him relatable. Piper Rubio is great as Abby. She's the movie's secret sauce. I can't take most child actors seriously, but she was perfectly believable. Elizabeth Lail was also solid as Vanessa. I loved her chemistry with Josh, and I was hoping their characters would end up together. The other star of this movie is Matthew freaking Lillard, Norville Shaggy Rogers. He clearly had fun making this movie, and it shows in his acting. I am so happy that he received an unbelievable amount of love for this movie. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it and then go on TikTok and watch some edits of him. The editors on TikTok cook like their lives depend on it. I know I've glazed this movie to the moon and back, but it's because I had a really good time. I admire that this movie was made for the fan base and not film nerds. I don't care that this wasn't a terrifying movie. I think that's good. For the sake of the plot, I think some characters were forced to make bad decisions, but ultimately, I think the drama is solid. Many of the minor complaints I have about this movie are wholly and completely offset by all of the good things that I've rambled on about. This is one of the best video game adaptations I have seen. Five Nights at Freddy's really surprised me. It's not a flawless movie. You can call it campy, predictable, and tame on horror, but it's also exactly what I wanted it to be. It's fun, nostalgic, and full of personality. It's a movie that celebrates the weird, colorful, animatronic energy we've lost in modern entertainment, and it does it with heart. You can feel the craftsmanship in every detail, from the Jim Henson suits to the neon glow of the pizzeria, and I respect that this movie was made for the fans first and not critics. I had a great time with this movie. If you grew up loving Chuck E. Cheese, Showbiz Pizza, or any other place that felt alive in a slightly eerie way, this movie taps right into that memory. It's goofy, spooky, and kind of heartfelt in its own way. I'll definitely be rewatching it before the sequel drops and can highly recommend it. Thank you for listening to my review of Five Nights at Freddy's. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit subscribe. If you did not enjoy the content, I'm sending Foxy after you. As always, I would love to hear what you have to say, so leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking. Also, if there's something you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast, Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.